What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of The Voice of the Land here with LPV Productions, brought to you by the great people at Greeny Sports Cards. I am Kevin Earl. He is Ryan Mosser. Ryan, how you feeling on a Thursday night?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Excited to see where these Cavs are going to go here in the near future. I'm really excited with the addition of James Harden, and so far so good. So
3 games so far, so good. Like you said, we will touch on that here in just a moment. Do want to see how much of the Olympics people have been watching and talk a little bit about some of that stuff. I mean, we talk Browns, we talk Browns. I don't. We're kind of in a weird period right now, but they are looking for a defensive coordinator. Other spots are reportedly being filled up. No official announcement, but there was an interesting note, at least not made public, but to season ticket holders. They had a chance to have a conversation with almost like a town hall with Coach Munkin this week. And there was an interesting little tidbit that he mentioned in terms of the coaching staff. So we'll get there. Like I said, Greeny Sports Cards. Reached out to them, greenysportscards.com. Don't have the dates. I don't know that they just announced it, but that show in Independence, the big Great Lakes Collectors Convention, is coming back to Independence. I feel like it's a little earlier in April than it was last year. Because last year, of course, it was during the NFL draft, and that Saturday, it was the day that Shadur got drafted, and everybody was, all Cleveland sports fans were together for that, so it was kind of cool. But I believe it's just around the time that NBA season is coming to a close, and we start to turn our attention to the postseason in still a couple weeks. I want to say 9th to the 11th, but don't quote me on that. I had just seen it. I hadn't gotten a chance to bookmark it yet, and I have to use my phone tonight for my camera, so I can't necessarily go looking for it. But the big show is coming there, but they always have shows at the Kirtland Senior Center every month, and always live on social media every Tuesday with eBay bids and guests and talking about card collecting. Like we always say, it's not just sports cards. That's kind of how they've always been a focus. But as each year goes by and each month goes by, the opening of like Pokemon and other card collecting groups are definitely involved with Green Sports Cards. So we thank them for partnering with us, and a special shout out to them for partnering with the Cleveland Crunch as well to get on board with them. But yeah, I don't know why we don't go live on Twitter, right? I have no idea.
I don't know.
But hey, wherever you're watching, even if you're watching it back, especially on the YouTube, like I feel like was big, especially its first initial, kind of out when it first came out, and now it's like becoming big again. Like it's kind of like a growing element. Everybody loves that, loves the stuff on YouTube, loves the used stuff on YouTube. So just head over there and watch all of our stuff right there on YouTube. So,
currently we're actually only live on YouTube. It says live on Twitter, but it's not. So Peter's taking a look. So if you're normally, watch us on Twitter, hopefully we get that up here soon. But like Kevin said, please watch it back. It's definitely going to be worth the watch.
So let's start with the Cavaliers. So 3 games now of the James Harden experience. So far, so good. A couple come from behind wins. You don't like that you had to do that against Sacramento in the grand scheme of things, but you understand it because they haven't practiced, and they still have yet to practice with James Harden and these new pieces. Now, I think Keon Ellis and James and Dennis Schroeder have practiced with the team, but once James Harden came aboard, at that point of that road trip, there just was no practice time, and I don't blame him. Right, coming back from the West Coast, not practicing, not really practicing, just doing some film before you had your last game before the All-Star break. I have no issue with that. But you come from behind that night when nobody knows any plays. You're just kind of playing backyard basketball. Just you guys just reading off each other. I think that shows the talent that James Harden has. You do it again against Denver. I mean, I think that is something, Ryan, and interested for how you feel about this. That out of the 3, that's the game where I feel like that's the one you take and you utilize this time off. A lot of the guys will be off. Get your legs back under you. Get your rest. Get ready for that stretch run. You're starting to play better basketball. You have to find a way to continue it. It might look rough at first with the rust and after having practice. Now people are thinking a little too much instead of just reacting like we have. But playing your best at the end is going to be important. I just think that Denver game is going to be one that they, as they go into practice next week before they come out of the All-Star break, is one they go back to and be like, you know what? Yes, I know that they're down a couple guys just like we are, but that is a high octane offense. You have one of the best players in the world in Nikola Jokic, and he still gets a triple double. But you do a decent job defensively on him, and you're still able to, after every punch that you took from Denver, you were still able to find a way at the end to win that one. That's mental resiliency, and I think that's something that they could take moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, Denver, the defending champs on the road in the altitude, like Jokic is playing like an MVP again, and the Cavs still found a way. I mean, this is the game where Harden's impact really jumped off the screen for me, I think. I mean, he didn't just make plays, he closed the game. He hit the step back over Jokic the final minutes. He organized every possession, down the stretch. And he made sure the Cavs didn't fall into that old habit of rushing bad shots late. Mitchell was efficient. Jared Allen, he battled Jokic all night and held his own, I think, even though he did give up a triple-double. I mean, if he's the only one scoring like that, cool. The bench gave real minutes, I thought, but the reason why, they walked out of Denver with that win, I think, was Harden's control of the fourth quarter. It's exactly why, we wanted him. A grown-up in the final 5 minutes, one who doesn't panic, and a guy who knows how to win tough games on the road. So, say what you want about him in the playoffs, but he's at least been, he wouldn't have had those big falls if you haven't been in some big games and had some big moments in big games. So,
and I think it was important to finish it off the right way. Finish it off at home yesterday. I mean, you saw a team that if you're facing any team that's better, I mean, you're probably in the same boat, like trying to have to like come back in the fourth quarter, because you could see the long road trip. I mean, it was only 5 games, but I think it was 11 to 12 days that they were gone. Donovan's taking it. He of course went to support his fiance at the Super Bowl as she was singing I believe it was the Black National Anthem. And he was supporting her there, and other guys, they took some time in LA. Like it takes a toll. Like especially when you for East Coast teams, when you go West Coast, you gain some time, but you have to come back to the East Coast, and you lose that time difference. It definitely has an impact. You could see it. There was some sloppiness. The one thing that I didn't like, and it seemed like they were starting to correct it, and hopefully this was just, tired legs and more so a factor of the road trip and kind of the way that they finished the All-Star before All-Star break portion of the season. The offensive rebounds, to allow a team like Washington, I mean, it's young guys. They're all trying to make sure that they have a spot next year when Washington brings in, Anthony Davis and oh my gosh, the guy from Atlanta. Why am I blanking too? Losing his hair a little bit. Oh my gosh, it doesn't really matter because he's not on our team. So you're looking it up real quick. I
am.
People are like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are so."
Kuminga, Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels, Rushier, Ray J. Dennis, Caleb Houston. Any of those guys?
No.
I don't know. Okay, he's straight like you said. It doesn't matter.
He went to Oklahoma. I know that's not Trey something. No,
I don't know. I can't think.
Trey Young. That's what it is. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
I think that tells you more about Trey Young than it does about us, because he's kind of a forgettable piece out there. But
wait, were you being facetious? I was just kidding. I thought I was playing along with your joke. Sorry, I thought you were joking.
No, I couldn't think of his name.
Yeah, it's Trey. It's all good.
I couldn't think of his name, but trust me, it's been a long week.
I get you, brother.
Had a little bit of the stomach bug around these parts for a few days, and
yeah, I had those 2 weeks ago, brother.
It's been interesting. That's to say the least. But to allow a young team like that to get as many offensive rebounds as they did, that's what teams preyed on early this season with this team, and that's what they're going to prey on as you get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, my only rebuttal with that is, I mean, Evan Mobley. I mean, hopefully when he gets back, we'll start getting those rebounds. I feel like he is, the fun thing is we're doing all, it's a short span, 3 games with Harden, but like it looks like he's already changed that team. He already looks like he's changed the offense. It already looks like Jared Allen is the beneficiary of Harden in his passes. I mean, that behind the back pass, yes, dude, it was crazy, so awesome. I mean, that's definitely what we're missing. Like I said, I don't think Evan Mobley's necessarily played with the facilitator necessarily like this. I know, Darius Garland, was a good passer, but this guy is, an all NBA passer, and I think it's just going to be great with him. But nonetheless, Mobley with the rebounds in general, I think those will be fixed. I do agree it's not ideal, but you still won 127 to 108. I mean,
yeah.
And I don't know. I think that, like you said, maybe they weren't necessarily looking forward 100% to this break, but it was looming, and it was a team that, they could have taken it lightly, but they still. I mean, Sam Merrill had a career game. I mean, there were still some really good highlights. So
still really good highlights, and like I mean, it is only 3 games now. It's 3 games that pushed the envelope to prove someone like me wrong. That was I wouldn't phrase it as totally against the trade, but I was, we talked about it last week, highly skeptical, and if you can ride the good wave of what James Harden brings to you and the good that he brings to you, you can ride that to the ultimate mountaintop before the other stuff that comes along with James Harden comes along with him. Then that just that's what really matters the most is finding a way to exploiting is not a great word, but it's kind of the way to look at it. Exploiting what James Harden does well to get to what you ultimately were trying to do by sticking with that core 4 for so long. It will be interesting to see how Evan Mobley gets integrated into this, because he's going to be in that starting lineup. I just feel like the times in my head, and maybe I'm out ahead of things, maybe this is a hot take, I don't know. My basketball mind is going to, because neither one is going to sit and like come off the bench. I know that. I'm not suggesting that, but the time shared on the floor, if initially it doesn't look right, like it hasn't at times, like there's times where Jared Allen is non-existent, and it also impacts the ability to rebound, vice versa with Evan Mobley. If the time on the floor just isn't working, the separation of the two, there needs to be more time of that than there is time together on the floor and maybe James Harden is that piece that helps figure that out, because with DG and Donovan back there, maybe that clashing then made it seem like the bigs up front were clashing more and more.
Yeah.
Again, maybe with James Harden out there, maybe that doesn't. It's only time will tell. I heard people were already, they were, somewhat upset. It's the All-Star break. We're playing so well, and now, it's typical Cleveland. We're gonna ruin our momentum by the All-Star break. Let me tell you something. These are professionals. They get paid to do this as their job. And this is a team that continues to push. Like, they keep finding chips, and they keep pushing them more and more into the center of the table. When you feel like they're all in already, they're pushing even more chips in the middle of the table. So that's what this is all about. It is trying to at least have the best opportunity to win the ultimate prize. Does it end up being that way? You play your best and someone's best is better than yours. Okay, tip your cap and see if you can up your level of best. But if it's failures to play the way that you're supposed to when you get to the playoffs, like, that's on them. It's not because they're taking this break. It's a scheduled break. It's all of those things. Ryan, I'm telling you right now, I expect to see and if we don't see it, that's great. It's icing on the cake, but I expect some growing pains coming out of the All-Star break. Like I said, when they get time to practice, now every guy knows the plays, but the guys that know them like the back of their hand, they're running through everything the right way. the guys that don't, now they're having to think a little bit more. I feel like there's going to be some of that discombobulation we expected early. I feel like coming out of the All-Star break, once they actually put the plays in and go through some of that stuff in practice.
See, I don't know, man. I just see how much a guy like James Harden demands on the court in terms of, you know, defenders' attention. He creates space for everyone else. You've seen Donovan Mitchell off ball just being an absolute monster. Sam Merrill's benefiting, you know, 9 out of 10, getting great, you know, assists from Harden. I mean, Jared Allen's. I just feel like, the addition of Evan Mobley, I'm not necessarily worried. Evan Mobley is one of the best defenders. Like I said, as long as Harden still creates that separation, which opens up, you know, he clearly, you know, gains the respect of defenders. Clearly, he's not. So I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, there might be a little bit of growing pains, a game or two, but I think this team is right where they need to be, right heading in out of the All-Star break, heading into, you know, a playoff run. I think this team is exactly. I struggle because you were not against this trade, but skeptical, of course, and I was for this trade, and I am almost. I'm trying to be humble. I'm trying to chill out because everything that I've talked about.
Hey, we're coming back to the same level. Coming back to the I'm coming up, you're coming down. Like we're
exactly. So, like I said, it's only been 3 games. I can't. I'm on top of the mountain because, you know, I can see the fit. I can see it working. I can see us finally progressing through the second round of the playoffs, and I can see a possible championship, man. And you know, it's exciting. Of course, yeah, it's naive for me to think that they're just going to dominate every game. They're going to have a little bit of growing pains, of course. But I think that whatever Harden is lacking, they definitely got with Schroeder and Ellis. And, you know, I just think that they found the perfect pieces for a championship run. And I'm trying to hold back a little bit. I'm chill. It's 3 games, but I'm very excited.
Yeah, and I think you know, in my head, I think part of my thoughts are probably skipping over I guess technical second half of the season. We're already past the halfway point,
right.
But you know, the after All-Star break, the sprint run to the finish to try to get the best seeding possible and all that type of stuff. Like my mind's probably skipping over that a little bit. I love the dog in Schroeder. I love the dog in Ellis, and I think that's huge. And I think that when you have guys and more than one like that, I think that you know, even if guys necessarily haven't found that yet, that can feed into them a little bit. I don't know that we've talked about Ellis and Schroeder enough, like giving them enough love for, you know, and Kobe Altman love for bringing those guys in. That was part of it. Was, you know, Ellis isn't like this prolific scorer. Now he can shoot the 3. I think he's pressing a little bit since he's been here, but you know, outside of playing against his old club, you know, Sacramento, he shot the ball pretty well there. But he gets hands on in the passing lanes. He's out there. Schroeder is a dog in the playoffs. Schroeder, people are going to back off of him. Like they're going to sink to the paint when he has the ball in his hands, and they're going to dare him to shoot and try to take out, you know, other pieces that are on the floor. So he's going to have to knock down the 3 a little bit more than he tends to do. And those are all things they're going to work through. The only reason I feel like coming out of the All-Star break, there might be, you know, outside of, you know, rust for every team, you know, not playing together for a week, like, you know, they always say it takes you like 6 weeks to start putting yourself, as you're conditioning yourself, to start getting yourself in a good spot when you're working out, and it only takes 2 weeks to get off of that. Well, you know, you've been doing all this and working to play so well, and, you know, not playing together for a week can actually, you know, kind of decrease that pretty quickly. I remember, I don't know if you remember this, Ryan, but back in, you know, the last year of LeBron's second stint, when he took that team with Larry Nance Jr. And I forget who else they brought in that at that time, what was it? That scoring guard that ended up going to Utah. I think he plays with New York
Jordan
now.
Clarkson?
Yeah, Clarkson. I think he was brought in at that time. Remember, like they played a couple like big time teams, and one was like Boston. And you know, the Cavs were, you know, they were kind of in a similar boat. Like they made a trade to try to, you know, give it one more run and really increase the depth of the team. They absolutely blew out Boston. Well, the next couple of games, I think it was in the All-Star break, after they had gone through some practices and these guys are like trying to run the plays and not just play basketball and ad lib all over the place. Like there was some growing pains. That's not that big of a deal. Like you can still win games through growing pains, but you're going to need these guys to understand the structure. To play out of structure is great, and to have that as a luxury is great. But you need to play in structure and have some of those plays known by every guy because you're going to be forced to play half-court offense in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it does help, though, that, these guys that they brought in, for the most part, are incredibly playoff tested. They're not young, naive guys who have not been around the block. Schroeder's been on 20 teams. Harden's been on 20 teams. They've been in big moments in the playoffs. I think that's the value also that they add. So there might be growing pains, but it's not like these guys have not been through these growing pains before. It's not like how, they've had plenty of, practice and time to learn how to react to said growing pains. So, and not to mention, you have an incredible leader in Donovan Mitchell as well. I don't know. Time will tell. Like I said, we're just trying to both even out here. But so far, it's been fun, and that's all we care about. So
yeah, and it's like, like there's already people that if you were on one side of it, like if you really didn't like the trade, or you were kind of like me, like there's people like that are trying to say, well, it's only 3 games. Like you can't take anything from that. Look at the opponents. Well, no, the NBA, like it's hard to win in like they're professionals for a reason. Right. There's only 30 teams in the NBA, not 32 like the NFL, and there's only 15 spots on a team versus 53 in the NFL. So like that margin of you making it from one level to the next is, that's much smaller in certain sports because of the amount of opportunities that are actually available to you. So they're all professionals. They all can play. You have to still go out there and do your job. Yeah, some of them may look, like big time blowouts because you're just so much better than the other team. But if you don't keep the right habits and the right mindset in every game, that's where things start to fall off. You get in a big time match. We're going to see 2 games of us against Detroit, and Detroit's sitting at the top. No one's really talking about them, and they have a team that, it's not necessarily stars up there. It's just a team that just puts forth the effort and just does and works well with what JB Bickerstaff wants and how they want to muck up a game and get out and run and all those types of things. There's going to be a few tests. I know that the Cavs have one of the easiest, if not the easiest, schedule coming down the stretch.
Right.
I think there are enough tests built in there for this team to really figure out and get themselves right to be, no matter what seed they are, to truly be that team that's, in the best spot to go after it and get their spot in the NBA Finals. But it's fun. Like, it's been fun basketball. Like, and if you love the trade and you want me to like bow down and say like, oh, I'm wrong. Like, again, if I have to say I'm wrong, guess what? That's
a good
happening
thing, yeah.
for our team.
Yeah.
Guess what's happening?
Right.
We're winning. Like, if you want your take versus a team winning a championship, I can't help you. I cannot help you. That's just not how this works. So definitely some fun 3 games, and NBA All-Star, just not what it used to be. Not at all. We're going to Monster Jam on Saturday. That used to be like my night, like All-Star weekend, like Saturday night. Like that was like, as a basketball guy, like I had to be home. I had to be watching it. I'm probably gonna miss some of it. I'm gonna have to watch it back like on replay and like recording on YouTube TV. It's okay.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in like 4 years, so.
Yeah. Not what I tell you this, I'm not going back and watching the dunk contest. I'll just go back and watch Donovan Mitchell rep Sam Merrill again and try to put on a better performance in Sam Merrill's jersey this year in the 3-point contest. I did love that interaction post game yesterday. And did you see what Donovan said about Sam?
I didn't.
They saw, so like FanDuel Sports Network, that's the home for FanDuel Sports Ohio. That's where the Cavs play, and you got to get like either the app or have regular cable to get the thing. But the graphics team put up, they put together what the keys were talked about between the hosts and stuff, keys to the game yesterday, and one was to get Sam going, like get Sam Merrill on fire, basically, like get his since he's dealt with injuries and stuff, just get his confidence, all that stuff, just kind of
Right.
ramp back up, right before the All-Star break. And apparently Sam saw that on one of like the little screens because they're right on the court during warmups. And he goes over to Donovan and says, "Have I really been that crappy? Have I really been that bad? that they got it." So, and then he ends up going to have that great half. It's that's what you need. You need guys like that can get hot. And you can't. So that means really you can't sink off of Merrill because he has that ability to shoot the three.
Right.
If you want to try to come off of your guy Sam Merrill and try to double James Harden, well, now you find Sam Merrill, he's knocking it down. Jalen Tyson, that's a dog out there. Like,
dude,
boy, oh boy, like
you the draft, bro. Like, if you read drafts, he's top 3, top 5 at least. Like, wow, love it.
What do you think of his to kind of ipso facto kind of switch gears a little bit? What do you think of his brother? Because I know a lot of people want to put him as like the number one wide receiver, but the injury history is a deep concern for a lot of people.
Yeah, I like him. He's actually my number 2 receiver ranked right now. I'm trying to find my notes on him. Give me a second. I do like him. Injury concerns are a little bit. Obviously, there's that saying, once a guy's injured, he can be injured forever. I don't know. I do.
Once the injuries start, they never stop.
Yeah,
Three-time Super Bowl champ Gerard Cherry says that. Also mentioned in a Super Bowl commercial, which was cool to see.
Right. I mean, he's 6'2", 200 pounds. I mean, I think he's smooth. He's technically advanced. Really good perimeter receiver who wins with pacing, body control, and has a real 3-level route detail. I like him a lot. He fits the mold of a modern X who can isolate the boundary, manipulate leverage, and finish through contact without relying on rare athletic traits. His game is built on timing, nuance, spatial intelligence, and traits that translate cleanly to the NFL passing structures. He profiles as a high-volume target earner with versatility to move on inside or to stack when needed. That's what just his archetype I have written down for him. But I have Carnell Tate ranked not significantly higher, but high enough to where he is my number 1 receiver. But Jordan Tyson is no slouch for sure. So,
yeah, I heard like there was in the job that I do and running the board for the Daily Brown show on our station. They have different draft experts on. I don't know if you've heard of Emery Hunt, I believe it was from CBS Sports. He's one of their draft analysts over there, and he was saying like I kind of split my wide receivers into like categories, like the best X is, and I'm not saying like this is like the names, but like he was like the best X is Tyson, the best Y is, so like that's how he was doing it.
Sure.
But he was kind of pressed and been like, like who would you take as that first wide receiver? Like who's the best of the bunch just overall, and has the ability to do the other things, even if he is best at one spot over the other guys, still has elite ability to do the other things. And, it seems like him and a lot of people are, coming around to what you should already know, that Carnell Tate is that guy. Like, that's a number 1 wide receiver at The Ohio State University that wasn't a number 1 wide receiver and was okay not being the number 1 wide receiver, but had that level skill and can be a number 1 wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, he's not the same player as Emeka Egbuka, but it's the same story. A guy who just bought in. Emeka Egbuka is what the all-time leading receiver in yards for Ohio State right now.
So, yeah.
No slouch, first round pick, and ended up dominating the first half until injuries sustained the Buccaneers tremendously. But nonetheless, and himself actually, but nonetheless, like Carnell Tate, should be that next guy. And then guess what? Jeremiah Smith, and then we'll talk about more and more and more as they continue to come. Chris Henry Jr. next year, Jameer Hollywood-Brown. He just doubled down today and said that he's still committed to Ohio State and the Buckeyes. And he's, Olympic trial speed as a junior high school this year. So
I think he was wearing like Miami gear at like one of the workouts, and people like started things like, because his recruitment is still open, and
sure
with Brian Hartline. I mean, look, these guys are getting free gear from these places. Like, like I'm
Not to
sorry,
mention,
like
it tracks for social media as well. You start getting Miami fans in there and stuff. Like these kids are
yeah,
gonna play the game, so.
yeah, it's all part of it, and these kids are have to grow up much faster than normal. And I mean, if you look at the stuff with the Browns, I mean, the only other aspect is waiting for the defensive coordinator, Ryan, and that's kind of the even though nothing's been announced, it feels like they're going to announce the entire coaching staff all at once. Like the Browns will make it official all at once because there is not just like one report that the special teams coordinator is an assistant from Green Bay. Like there's multiple reports on that. There's multiple reports on who they hired as an offensive coordinator and some of the assistants. And Deuce Staley's going to stay with the running backs, which I think is actually a big, a very under the radar big keep for Todd Monken. The way that he was even able to get like Rocket Sanders and some like those other guys when Quinshon was out and those other guys, especially in that last game. So I think getting them ready. But it is the defensive coordinator. I don't know if you saw, but some social media, like some people had posted, because I don't know how much they were supposed to keep in house and whatever. But if you have season tickets, you got a chance to have this like symposium, town hall, virtually. Nathan Zagura leading it with Todd Monken, the head coach, like meeting some of the fans, like getting to answer some of their questions.
Okay.
And the one thing that he said that's kind of like everybody's taking is he wants the coaching staff wrapped up by this weekend. If that happens, I think that's huge because you still have a week before you go to the combine. You get everybody in, you have your meetings, you have conversations, get everybody on the same page. So then everybody goes to the combine together and you know exactly what you're looking for and the philosophy that you have going into. I think it's key to get that done now and not push it until like, oh, first meeting we have as officially as a staff is right here in Indianapolis. Oh, look, we need to start. Oh, wait, someone's running the 40. We got to go. Like, those types of things. I think I think that is important.
Yeah. I mean, they requested an interview Corey Undelin. I can't say his name.
Undelin?
Undele. The Houston Texans defensive passing game coordinator today.
It better not be Undele defense.
Yeah. Also, obviously, Jason Tarver, the Browns linebacker coach, and then Empriam Banda, the Browns safety coach, are in contention as well. I mean, I don't know enough about Undelin to talk about him, but I do know that the Houston Texans defense was legendary this year. I'm not saying they're one of the best, but they are incredibly efficient, incredibly good this year. Carry that team farther than what their offense could have, just in terms of turnovers and flipping the field. And I mean, if he was a big part of that, I don't see why not. I don't know. We talked about last week. Jason Tarver is an absolute need to keep on this team. I don't know necessarily if he would be 100% open to coming to Cleveland. Well, hold on. No, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. Let me restart. Jason Tarver, we need to retain him. I don't know if Cleveland is open to promoting him from in-house. I don't know if Todd Monken wants that. I don't know if he would want to stay necessarily. He does have previous coordinator experience with the Raiders, 2012 to 2014, and obviously at Vanderbilt as well. And you just see how that linebacker room this year. I mean, he got a NFL Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year out of it, and every single dude stepped up. Devin Bush looked like he's about to earn a major contract. Hopefully, it's with the Browns, but I would like to retain Jason Tarver. I wouldn't have a problem. He'd probably be my first choice right now. I don't know if the Browns were looking that way though. So.
Yeah, I can only use Zagura's words. Like he's the most like tied in and knows. I mean, he'll forget more NFL than I'll ever know. But he mentioned how Undelin like worked under Jim Schwartz as like a cornerback coach or like in the defensive back rooms under Jim Schwartz when he was in Philly. And of course, like that would kind of ensure that the system would stay the same because the Texans run the same system as what the Browns ran this year. Like what got the Texans into that winning streak or helped them in that winning streak and at least make a playoff appearance was that defense for sure. And won them their first game for sure too, with all those turnovers from CJ Stroud. Tarver, Tarver would be a good hire, I think. but I don't know enough to really like be like, okay, like the name gets announced, like, oh, I'm going to be so upset or I'm going to be really happy. Like there's just, that was for the head coach spot. I'm glad Todd Monken is getting his chance at 60 and well respected, been around. But again, you got to show. You can't just. You got to show it. You got to. I'm not out as a fan, but I'm, and I'm not like teetering as out, but I'm not like here to just give you flowers for every little thing. And like, I'm gonna let Ryan do it because he knows the prospects a lot better. Like a 5th round draft pick, if he is all about it, like I'm gonna trust Ryan because it's like, oh, like this is a steal, that type of thing. The people that think that they know just because they heard something and they just tweet positivity just to tweet positivity. You can do that. That's great. I'm going to reserve judgment or any sort of thoughts, negatively, positively, towards the Browns until they show me that they can do football things in a football way.
And I think that's a logical response. Yeah, of course I'm going to, grade.
But you know it. Like
I talked about it a little bit. Yeah, like I've gone through hundreds of prospects at this point. I have every single offensive prospect that has declared, broken down into. I mean, just my receivers alone, my characters. I have 700,000 characters with my receivers. Just so much. I mean, that's a lot. That's 70 receivers. I've been working on this for months, guys.
Yeah.
I still have to get through defense. I'm working on that. It's taking me a lot longer, but nonetheless, like I am putting in the work. I've studied these. My rankings aren't necessarily consensus or mock draft. I have a lot of categories and weighted categories and things like that based off of everything. And then I have a big board as well. It's really cool. But nonetheless, I'm excited for this draft. But just because if I do like a prospect or not doesn't mean necessarily that they are going to fit with this team, with the system we're going to work out. And I mean, Andrew Berry has a history of just having bad drafts. Of course, last year he nailed it with the first 4 picks, but he still found a way to mess it up somewhat. And it's not that I don't know. He just hasn't gained my trust fully. So yeah, of course, this is a rookie head coach, although he has been around every sort of scenario and coaching position in every single level.
It's still different.
Yeah, exactly. I'm excited. I think that Todd Monken might, after reflecting, might have been the right hire, but it's naive for me to think that this team is going to be good next year because they're not. I've been caught on Twitter saying I'm negative. Guys, I'm not negative. I'm just realistic. I use logic. And
that's what I'm talking about right there. Those are the people that will hear someone like you that knows a lot about the draft and they'll be tuning in even though they don't give you credit or kind of give you a follow or whatever. They just they catch on to it, they hear it, and then they use their clout driven base that they have. You know what I'm talking about. Like there's plenty of social media accounts out there on all the different platforms where it's you're repurposing stuff as your own that's not actually your own but if you don't put the laser eye emoji of Andrew Berry out there after every little move that he makes and you're not how are you not jumping on a table excited that we got this guy in the 4th round and then I know my buddy Ryan told me that that's definitely a good pick, but did he play a game for the Browns yet? Did the Browns win more than they lost? Did they, are they disciplined? Are they on time, on task? Are they physical? You gotta show me. And you can't be realistic. You can't be logical. You can't be sensible in these conversations anymore. But that's what the voice of the land is, people. Yeah. I'm just here to tell you, I'm not happy with this team right now. My focus is on the Cavs, and when baseball season gets going, am I happy about what they've done this offseason or lack thereof? No. I have my issues with the baseball team, but I've been shown in the past from their actual play that they contend for things. And, you get in a dance, you got a chance. That's what it always is. And every single playoff run that you have, or whatever sport it is, you get in the dance, you have a chance. The Browns never have a chance. And when they do have a chance, they don't capitalize on it, or it's just a flash in the pan. It's not real. We need concrete, actual football. I've said it before, Ryan. I'll say it again, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. This is a pro football team that is an hour north of where pro football and the Pro Football Hall of Fame is situated, and the roots of pro football go back to Canton, Ohio. If any fan base, any football town deserves good football for multiple years and contending multiple years, it is this area. You can call me biased. You can call me a hound for Cleveland. I don't care. I have been through it. I know it. Cleveland deserves good football, and we continue to be the team, the organization that wants to act like we're smarter than everybody else instead of just taking what everybody else does and doing similar stuff and just finding a way to be better at it. Yeah. That's really what it is. The only way you succeed is when other teams plan to defend your best and defend what you do or take away what you do, and you're still able to do it. Yeah. That's just the way it goes. Yeah. Just the way it goes.
Yeah. I mean, do I have hope for this team? Of course. Do I want this team to succeed? Of course. Do I want them to win a Super Bowl? Yes. But logic is we are not there. We are not there. And I'm not going to sugarcoat a turd or paint a turd gold and say it's a gold nugget when it's not. I mean, I love this team no matter how bad they are. And it sucks that I love this team so much. But nonetheless, I'm not going to pretend like, put a lipstick on a pig and call it a beauty queen. It's not. So
no, I mean, this isn't called the fanatic of the land. Right. This is called the voice of the land, and our voices are going to speak what's true, what's reality. We all have the fan inside of us. We all think illogically, like we all have this, I'm sure in me right now, there's still that guy that's like, oh, I have all this hope. I want to be positive all the time. But I know in reality, you have to just lay down what you see, and this is what we see. And until that changes, we can't change, unfortunately. So
maybe we are on Twitter because we just got a Twitter comment. Alex says, "Go get Malik Willis, and we Super Bowl bound." I disagree. I'd stay out of that contest. I think we have enough money in the quarterback room. Nonetheless, the 2027 draft. We keep money down the road with they said the 26th draft was going to be incredible with quarterbacks, but 27 is going to be because a lot of guys have to leave the NCAA unless they get permission. And there's a lot of great competition. So
I think Malik Willis is going to help a team in the NFL if he gets the chance to be the starter again. Now that he kind of had the opportunity, went to be a backup in Green Bay and has shown good stuff in relief. I think he's going to help a team. Unfortunately, the way the Browns are set up, Kevin Hart had this county special where he had this running joke throughout. He said, the way my bank account is set up, I can't, people are asking for money. The way my bank account's set up, I can't really give you this money. The way the Browns are set up right now, I know that there's cap and everybody tries to understand it. I don't want to try to understand it. It's too much in my head, too much going on. I let the smart people try to figure that out. I just know they're going to do enough maneuvering of money to get some veterans in here, but there is one big contract on this roster that is that makes the cap configuration very difficult, and it helps the NFL keeps raising the salary cap. But I just don't think the Browns, not because of Malik Willis, but because of where they are and cap ridden and having no offensive linemen at all.
Yeah,
don't think it's if you get Malik Willis, you don't focus on the offensive line. You don't put in time, energy, and effort. You're just bringing guys off the street again, like some guy named Blake, but he doesn't play like some guy named Blake in a playoff game. They're playing like you would expect some guy off the street to play. Malik Willis can't succeed here either. No quarterback can succeed. Trust me, I get it. It's the most position in all of sports, most important position in all of sports, right? I totally get it. I totally get everybody. Anytime a quarterback becomes available, Browns go get him. Browns go get him. Number one, if a quarterback's available in free agency, not the best thing. The best quarterbacks stick with their teams for the most part. And on the other side of that, it goes hand in hand. You can't have a quarterback succeed here with nothing in front and around them.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Watson thing and his contract. Guys, I've warned people, and I've been called negative on this, but Shedeur Sanders is not guaranteed the quarterback one spot if this roster as it is goes into the preseason. I mean, all reports are saying Deshaun Watson's ready to go. Do I necessarily want him as my quarterback? No, of course not. I mean, he's shown, I was done with him before. I said the day that he plays another snap in the NFL, or specifically with the Browns, would be probably one of the day a lot of fans probably stop watching again. But what do we have right now? Yes, Shedeur is promising, but Shedeur has really not proved anything. And is it because of the offensive line? Is it because of the lack of receivers? Is it because of him? We don't know.
Yes.
But nonetheless, yeah, exactly. Nonetheless, they're going to go with the best guy available. And if Watson has any resemblance of the Houston Texans Watson that he fits Todd Monken's system incredibly. I mean, And then on top of that, if he does well, then we open up a whole new can of worms about contract extensions, which is just crazy. But let's slow the brakes a little bit because, I mean, reports are coming out that Monken has liked what he's seen with both quarterbacks. He likes what he's seen with Watson.
Yeah.
He likes the potential that Watson brings. Obviously, we saw, the welcoming with Monken and Shedeur showing up and how endearing that was and how he wanted to draft him this and that, but nonetheless this is going to be a quarterback competition this year. So
yeah, get your QB trackers back out. Right. We're gonna be tracking throws again at training camp against air, against 7-on-7, 11-on-11, like all that type of stuff. We're back there. And look, I know we need a better option, like a more established option at quarterback, and I would love to be in a position to, have the number one pick because I would take Fernando Mendoza on this team. That, yeah, absolutely. What?
I mean, he's fine. He's good. He's okay. This quarterback class is awful, and I just think
I know.
I think he's at the top because it's not necessarily because he's the best.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see how he ends up doing with the Raiders and everything that. Like, I would love to be in a position to take any guy and like get like the best quarterback. We're just not in that spot, and that's why this is so difficult. And if you disagree with us, you don't like that we're sound like we're kicking the can down the river, down the street for a quarterback. Don't be mad at us. Be mad at the Browns because they have kicked it down the street so often. And not done things the right way to take care of the most important position in all sports. Now you're between a rock and a hard place. And really, in reality, the best option is to build up the offense.
Yeah. See
where you get to, and then, maybe try to get some more assets for yourself to then go all in on a quarterback when there is a multitude of actual options available to you. Is that next year? I don't know. We said this year was going to be a great quarterback draft class.
Right.
I mean, I love Julian saying, but like anything can happen until we see everybody play. Like you can't say that if somebody's going to say it, Ryan, coming out of this draft, someone's going to say it. Oh, they're way too early mock drafts the day after day 3 of the draft. Yeah. There's going to be mock drafts.
It's going to be me.
And there's going to be quarterbacks filling that first round. Oh, man, get ready for the 2027 QB draft class.
It's going to be amazing. Real quick, going off that, Alex, he said, so you want an O-lineman or wide receiver this draft? He's talking about the first round. Personally, I think that both positions are stacked. I think offensive line is heavily front loaded this draft, and I think there are some incredible receivers in this draft, but very few that are top tier, at least in my rankings. Knowing that and knowing that we need both positions, for a long time I really wanted to get the offensive right tackle out of Miami, Francis. I'm not Magnolia. I can't say his last name, but Francis. He's a beast. Maui Noah. Thank you. It's so hard for me to pronounce those their names nonetheless, especially those big ones. But knowing that, at least in my rankings, that it's so front loaded in offensive line. There's some great guards. There's some great tackles. I would personally go receiver. Honestly, I'm not necessarily stamping out the idea of going best player available, even if that's a defensive player. That's not necessarily what I would do. But knowing Andrew Berry, Arvell Reese, Caleb Downs, Baines, one of those dudes are there. Those are possibly the best player in the draft regardless, and probably because of need, other players are going to go before them. I could see a spot where both receivers are gone before you even pick. So Carnell Tate and Tyson are gone. At least my 2 ranks. I would go Mekhi Lemon even. I know he's not an outside receiver, but he is dynamic, and I think he would fit in perfectly with this team. Personally, I would go receiver at 6 and then try to just stack, get as many offensive linemen as we can. Like I said, our center and 2 guards are all unrestricted free agents this year. I don't know if we'll bring them back. I would expect maybe Teller to come back, but still we don't know. Hints maybe Lindenbaugh might try to come over from the Ravens and to be with Monken again. I don't know. Nonetheless, our tackle positions are not that great as well. I mean, DeJuan Jones out. Jack Conklin, he stole $80 million from the Browns, has played 45% of the games that he's supposed to. There's a lot of work to be done. So I would definitely try to grab as many of those top, offensive line as possible, but it's very front loaded for the offensive line, in my opinion. So you
said it was Alex that was asking this question.
Yes,
right?
Alex. Yeah, thanks for the comments, man. Appreciate you. Bro.
Absolutely. Yeah, tune in every Thursday, 6 o'clock. We go live. We try to have some real conversations. I don't mean to push the question off a little bit. I will answer. I want wide receiver at 6.
Yeah,
that's where my head is at. I'm hearing other people break down draft and like you're saying, front loaded at tackle. So it might be safer to try to get best tackle there at 6, and then you still have a multitude of options at wide receiver. I hear all that. That's not something I have to figure out.
Yeah,
of course. I'm not in the draft room. I don't have to weigh those options and weigh that decision. So I will answer the question by saying I am personally in favor of wide receiver at 6, and tackle later on at 24 and start to fill in from there. But I will also say in on the other side, to push this question not away, but just down the road, what do that you were talking about Linderbaum and free agency is coming up. Now, like we said, there's not a lot of money for this team. They'll try to finagle some with the cap and have some money to try to build and bring some veterans in here. But I think it's still important that around free agency, I think, other conversations about trades and stuff like that, like what Andrew Berry said, his focus is going to be on the offense. So every opportunity you have in periods of the offseason to add players, what does that look like? I think that's going to be huge in turn, to really determine bigger than most other years for this team. I think that free agency period, as that comes down and trades come down before the draft, I feel like that's going to have a big impact on how that order goes right there.
Now, and I agree. And Andrew Berry, he made this bed. Last year he made the decision. He made the first 4 picks. Great. Mason Graham, perfect addition. Krishan Junkins, Carson Swessinger, Harold Fannin Jr., all absolutely dynamic players. But then he drafted another running back. He drafted 2 quarterbacks. He drafted a 3rd-round quarterback that I thought should have been an undrafted free agent for a head coach to be his backup, who's now in Atlanta. And no offensive lineman when you know that the state of this offensive line after this season. He's a wizard. He knows what this roster was going to be after 2025 season, and he still decided to double down on 2 positions that we necessarily didn't need. We did not need 2 quarterbacks, especially the headache. Of course, maybe he adapted. No one maybe necessarily guessed the Shador would have fallen that far in the 5th round. Or maybe it was a Jimmy Haslam pick, but he absolutely it was malpractice for him not to draft offensive linemen in last year's draft. So
no matter how the Haslams made you think as a fan by keeping Andrew Berry thinking that he was safe out of the woods and stuff like that, we have to remember he is not, because yes, he did have a really good draft, and he had undrafted free agents. Hi, Lincoln. How are you, buddy? Your weekly appearance. I love you. Oh, okay. You're going to close the door and stay in here? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Whatever. You ready for monster trucks, buddy? Yeah. 2 days. 2 days.
Yeah, man. I'm jealous.
Well, we're not gonna see. I don't think Zombie's gonna be there, okay? But Gravedigger's gonna be there.
Woo!
Gravedigger. But yeah, like I was saying, it is malfeasance to be the guy that in 5th grade was breaking down and working on. Sorry, bud, I didn't mean to smack you in the face. breaking down cap and stuff like that in 5th grade.
Right.
He, like you said, he knew what was going on with this offensive line, where their contracts were, and to not address it at all.
Yeah.
And put yourself in this place like that, that is a problem, and that's why still on the hot seat for me, that's for sure, as a GM. Before we get out of here, because apparently
real quick, I want to talk about something real quick, if that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, Ohio State versus Penn State tomorrow, wrestling dual match, okay? Friday, February 13th, 7 p.m. It's going to be at the Bryce Jordan Center at University Park, live on the Big Ten Network tomorrow. This is number 1 Penn State versus number 2 Ohio State, undefeated versus undefeated. Penn State is riding an NCAA record 84 straight dual wins, which is a shattered NCAA record, just insane. Against an Ohio State team that's 17-0 for the first time in program history. This is going to be the duel of the year. I did break it down by weight class by weight class. We don't have that time right now. I do think that the projected outcome is, obviously, I think that Penn State is favored in 7 weight class compared to Ohio State's favored in 3. Ohio State has Jesse Mendez at 141 pounds. He's a 2-time defending national champion, absolute beast, undefeated this year. Just had a huge win a couple days ago on senior night, and is looking to continue that. I think that Ohio State's path to an upset is winning at 125, 133, and weights 141, and then stealing one of the middle weights, and then avoiding bonus points from Penn State's top-ranked wrestlers. And then Penn State just has to wrestle as they're supposed to. They have 7 number 1 wrestlers in the country at the weight class. Absolutely insane, including a guy that was at Ohio State last year and transferred over, Rocco, and he is just a beast. So it's Friday night, 7 o'clock, Big Ten Network, the biggest NCAA wrestling duel of the season. Number 1 Penn State versus number 2 Ohio State. It's going to be a lot of fun. Check it out. So
yeah, and I want to make sure, because I know Lincoln was getting very excited about monster trucks. I muted myself so that people could actually hear that, because that's very important for people to hear, because I mean, as Ohio State fans like we are, like, we know there's some that probably don't, but there are more sports than just football at Ohio State, and there's many sports that are very good. The women's basketball, people want to crap on the men's basketball team. The women's basketball team, that is a very, very good program there at Ohio State. So,
yeah. Alex said, thanks for the wrestling shout. I was unaware. I'm going to tune in. Nice show. Hope to see you back soon. Yeah, man, thank you. Also, another one real quick fun fact. This year in Cleveland, in Rocket Field, Mortgage Field. Rocket Arena, now it changes every other year, is the NCAA National Championship Tournament in Cleveland, hosted this year. It's going to be next month, March in the 20th. I forget the exact date. I tried to get credentials, was denied nonetheless. I'm still going to watch on TV, but it's going to be awesome as well. So, yeah, Friday, 7 o'clock, Big Ten Network. Check out Penn State, Ohio State, number 1 versus number 2. And then next month, Cleveland's going to host it and be awesome again. I think this is the 3rd time hosting. So
that is going to be an event to see.
Yeah.
For sure.
Tickets are like $1,000 for the finals. It's insane.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. If you've like scrolled through channels and you've ever come across like the national championship meet for wrestling in college, like the stands are packed. It is electric in there. I tend to watch some of that every single year. So
it's so fun. Yeah.
So definitely keep an eye on that, and let's keep supporting our athletes in the Olympics. How much have you watched a lot of the Olympics, Rod?
I saw the Lindsey Vonn injury. I got to meet Lindsey Vonn at a conference called the Summit of Greatness in Columbus, hosted by author Lewis Howes. He's a podcaster, the Summit of Greatness. Go check him out. Or School of Greatness is the podcast. Nonetheless, really cool. Lindsey was really nice. It's sad. It's really, really sad. I did get to watch, was it men's long skiing? I forget what it's called, but we finally medaled in that since the 70s, so that's really cool. And I saw a little bit of skateboarding too. So
the cross country skiing.
Cross country skiing, yeah. Gosh, I'm so bad with events.
So, the last names escape me right now, but her name is Jessie. She got a bronze in the 10K or 10,000 kilometer race today for cross country skiing. So U.S. Everybody thinks that we're good at like every single sport. We're not. Like we're not at least dominant in every single sport. In our history, we only have 6 like Nordic cross country skiing medals in the Olympics. 6 total. 4 of those belong to her.
Wow.
And I think this is her fourth Olympics, and I think she's gotten one every single Olympics, that at least a medal every Olympics that she's been to. And she had a broken rib while she was doing it today. So
shout out Layla Edwards as well for scoring in
yes,
hockey. She's from Cleveland,
Cleveland
right?
Heights.
Yeah,
Cleveland Heights.
Alex as well. Watch any Cleveland State sports? I attend there. Kevin, did you go to Cleveland State or?
I did go to Cleveland State, yeah. So Jana and I both went to Cleveland State. We try to keep our eyes on it. If you go to Cleveland State, you go in the bookstore, you get a shirt. You can always get a shirt that says Cleveland State football, undefeated since 1964.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, if Cleveland State ever got a football team, I think that they could be
that'd be fun.
Be good, decently good pretty quickly because of the talent that is here in Northeast Ohio that doesn't go D1 or isn't able to go to D1, like the amount of talented players they'd still have available to them. At this point, a school trying to add a program like football, though, in the NIL world, I just don't think that I think we're past that point. Never say never, but I think we're past that point for CSU getting football. But proud.
Yeah, not to mention Kevin also is the voice of the Cleveland Crunch hosted at the Wolstein Center. So anytime you go watch a soccer game over there, Kevin is doing the live YouTube broadcast or stream it over from the MLIS YouTube page and a lot of different radio stations as well. So
come on, boys. We need a win this weekend. We need a win. Let's get back on track this weekend, boys, as they had their first loss up in Toronto, but they were down a few guys. No excuses, just it's going to be tightly contested for sure. With that. I was definitely watching some of the men's hockey today. Been watching the women's hockey. Curling, I was all about the Corys, man. I was all about the mixed double team of Corey Tice and Corey Dropkin. Dude, I was all about them. Wanted to see them win, but definitely learning more about curling than I ever have. I watch every single time the Olympics come around, and if I'm scrolling through channels, there are Olympic channels, they'll play some of the sports that are in the Olympics when they're in the off season between those 4 years. Right. So I see it, but this year I don't know why, but my mind is locked in on the rules this year. So I'm understanding a lot more. I'm man, why did you go for that shot? I'm so right. So it's fun, and it's a good time. You got the Olympics right now. The World Cup's coming to the United States in the summer. There's some, March Madness is coming up. There's big stuff. There's plenty of stuff to get us through part of the off season of football. And we got the Cavs on a good run. See what the guards can do, and we'll keep talking about it all right here on the Voice of the Land. That's going to wrap it up for this edition, though. For my buddy Ryan Moster, for our friends at Greeny Sports Cards, go to greenysportscards.com. Get all the information about Greenies right there on their website. We thank them. Steve and Jeremy and their entire team, we thank them. For Peter Telef, I'm Kevin. I'm reminding all of you, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game, as they said in Avengers Endgame, but we truly mean it to everybody around the world. We truly love you all 3,000. Unlike the Browns, don't talk about it, be about it. Right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm excited for the draft, I guess. Yeah.
And live life, as our great late friend Mike Allen always used to say, live life, all gas, no brakes. We'll see you next time right here on the Voice of the Land.